what's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Scale Riders Podcast. I am your host, 65 Locs. This is episode 163, solo episode on the road right now. I'm just taking off, literally, like right now. I got about an hour and a half of a commute. Not too sure if that's what I'm going to be delivering as far as an episode, but we'll see. There's quite a different amount of topics I want to talk about. Right out of my head, while it's still fresh on my mind, I do want to talk about SoCal Open that just happened this last Sunday. And I also want to get into some of the items that have been arriving at the scaleriders.com website store, as well as what's coming next week. Items that I have on pre-order. I'm going to try to remember exactly everything. I mean, it's very difficult. There's a lot of items, but whatever I can remember, I will spit them out, as they say. And one of the last things I wanted to cover also that I have not really been able to, because it's been a while for the solo episode, is just kind of get you guys updated as far as like where I'm at with the store, the direction of where it's at, because as time goes on, things evolve. So let's just go right ahead and get into it with the SoCal Open. And I also apologize for the noise right now. If you hear like the AC, it's about 5:41 p.m. and it's like 80 degrees right now. I'm headed to Ventura County with this commute, and man, it's hot right now in my car. And if I lower the windows, it's gonna be super loud. But anyway, so SoCal Open happened Sunday, May 1st, the beginning of May, and this was organized by Art Lasky. You guys also know him from ScalePro.com. And the event was awesome. It was another hit. Last year he had it around the time of October because the different dates that were set, and then there was cancellations. So it kept getting pushed back. So it happened in October. I vended at that event. It was cool. But this one being in May during, right now, which we're pretty much very close to summer, it's like a very peak time where a lot of people come in. A lot of people are very aware. A lot of people have the time. They're open. And it was cool. It was on a Sunday. And, I got there pretty early to set up. Setup time was about 7 a.m., between 7 and 8. The show started at 8, and it went on till 3 p.m. This time around, I booked a bigger table. I got 2 tables, and I was quite impressed that my tablecloth actually covered both tables, because it was meant for one, but I guess the sides that hang, I was able to spread that out. So I was super happy about that and pumped. Just because it gives it more of an official look, especially when you're walking up to the table to see what's there. And I just wanted to have the presentation looking good as far as the table. And, all the vendors were setting up. But when I initially got there, Gavin was one of the first vendors that was already like setting up. And he was in one of the corners of the gymnasium. I was on the opposite corner from him. So I went over, said what's up to him. He was getting his things ready, and I was just blown away by his display that he had. He talked about it on the podcast when I had him on. So that was pretty cool to finally see that in person. All the wheels displayed, all the parts. He had these little stands that were made out of acrylic, and just everything, the flock, things like that were just like set up. So that was cool to see. So you get about an hour to set up, and sometimes I can set up pretty quick. Like within like 20-30 minutes, I'm done. I'm ready, But this being the first time I booked 2 tables, I was like, dang, this is actually taking the whole full hour. Because prior to the show, I was laying out on a piece of paper how I was going to be laying out the stuff. Because there's various products that I'm bringing in, and I have to kind of group it by what they are, because I'm carrying various brands that make, they all each make their own sanding pad, sanding stick. There's different, paints that I'm also carrying, tools, model kits. and other detail accessories. So I had to divide the table into sections as to how I was going to organize everything. So I went ahead and started from the left-hand side with sanding materials. Next to that was the tools. The middle section was the detail parts, followed by paints, glue, and adhesive products. Right behind all that was where the model kits were. So it was just one of those things, like, all right, I know how I'm going to lay this out now because I drew it out. But now all these containers that I brought with me, small containers, I have to lay them out, sort through all of them, And I did group them in the containers, but then again, you want to save space and consolidate, right? Putting everything, not like cramming it, but, just fitting everything into, as many less containers as you have to take, because, it's a lot of work when you have to carry like so many boxes and containers. And this show, I was like, thinking about it, like, all right, what am I going to take? What makes sense to take? What are things that, customers are looking for? And it was cool to get suggestions, from people in the community who were saying they were going to come out, or just, make sure you bring this. So I was already taking notes. And this time around, I wasn't going to bring so many model kits. Like, it was going to be more about the materials, the tools, and the detail up parts. That for sure was what I wanted people to get excited about, especially with the Mr. Model brand that's made out in Brazil that I recently started acquiring. That was one of the things that I was like hyped about bringing out. And I did have it in the center stage right there, and whatever zoom on items that I had left, in stock, the last items, those also I wanted to pretty much bring with me. And people were tripping out, like all the stuff that they were seeing there on the table. It was cool. I met some new people. I met some people that came up, said what's up, that traveled far. And I was just kind of just like taken back and tripping out. People are bringing up the podcast and stuff like that, and I'm happy that people are listening to it and they're enjoying it. If anything, that's one things is that they're actually enjoying it, because it's a trip, man. I don't know how to explain it. Like, I like doing the podcasts. I like doing the interviews. Right now, I just love the way it's fitting with my schedule of being able to do a podcast every week. So, I give, mad props to you guys for actually taking the time to listen to them. I know, you want to hear the stories from model builders, artists, and I'm happy to be sharing them. I'm happy to be in that seat to be asking them these questions, and I'm also happy for them as guests to open up and talk about this stuff, But at the same time, I also want you guys to feel like you're there, you're in the conversation as well, And as time goes on, I want to upgrade things for sure with the podcast. I want to do more video with it, along with the audio, because right now I mostly do just audio, but I have to pretty much evolve and transition, making sure that each episode is the combination of both. And there it gets a bit tricky too, because not everybody's in the US. We have guests that are out in Japan, guests that are out in Europe, various places. And it's just one of those things where we have to just kind of adapt to like what we have. The cool thing of options that we have right now is, we could do an interview through WhatsApp, through the Facebook, through the phone, also even through Instagram. Instagram in the Messenger, jump on the phone line right there. You know what I mean? Like, there's just various ways you can do it. And obviously cell phone, landline, all that jazz you can do. But the cool thing is that, we're able to capture a conversation, document it, and put it out to the world to listen. And as time goes on, more episodes are going to come, more stories. I feel like it just doesn't end. There's a lot going on, So going back to SoCal Open, it started to get busy pretty early. Very early on in the day, people were showing up, busting out their cars, tables were starting to fill up. People were just all over the place buying various items. The place was full of vendors. So everybody had, people just doing the rounds, going to each table, buying a kit, buying some tools or buying some wheels, various things. One of the coolest things was to see Gavin in action. That was his first show vending. And I feel because I've seen his story progress from when he started. I still remember when he told me before he launched it, before he went live, that he was going to start a business. He pretty much had things in the works. So just seeing from then to where he's at now and then hearing his story, and I feel like it's like from listening to him speak and knowing the story, you could say that model building is what saved him. Being in a foreign country, losing your job during a pandemic, and what else are you going to do? It's almost like any attempt you're trying to do something to progress, you can't. But he managed to pull through. He had some ideas. He saw there was a problem. He thought of a solution. And there's what gave birth to Lowrider Model Car Parts. And the rest is history. Look where he's at now. He's in a way better place. And he's out here in California. He made that happen. He actually came out. He vended. And I believe he's going to be out in Texas. So maybe by the time this is out, he will already be out there or on his way out there. But that's the next show. That Plastic Society with Detail Junkies, Andres, Skeleton are organizing, So it's exciting, and just seeing him chilling, and all of a sudden there was like a long line and just people, boom, coming through. People would come over to me and be like, yo, where's Gavin? Or where's the guy who was with the wheels, He's on that side over there. Hey, you better hurry up before he sells out. And that's always the fear on things, right? That it's going to sell out. And, for sure, if you were going to this show, you wanted to hit his table first. If you were looking for lowrider parts, for sure. Wheels, accessories, all that stuff. You definitely wanted to go with him first. And there was a little bit of everything, but aside from the vendors, down to the tables, man, there was so many model kits that were being presented for the first time. I'd say probably due to the pandemic and not being so many shows and not everybody being able to attend every show. This one here, bringing everybody collectively, a lot of models were presented that I have not seen. There was some that I've seen previously before, but this time around there was a lot that I had never seen before. And I was just blown away. The detail that was put together on some of these models was, we like to say the same words, right? Like insane, badass, and all this stuff. But I feel like when you see this stuff, you start to run out of vocabulary words, You just got to see it for your eyes. Pictures don't even do any justice, And you're starting to see the levels up of where it's at now. Because whenever you follow a scene or you're into something, you're being introduced to it at that state where it's at right there and then. And a lot of the times when things evolve, you're a part of that evolution, you're there seeing it happen, but you're not really taking too much into notice, It's just kind of happening, and then it catches you by surprise. The next thing you know, you're like, wow, wait, how did this happen? And then you got to backtrack into that timeline, and you start to see oh man, how did I not see this coming or what? And that's kind of how I felt when I saw the cars, because from the shows that I started to attend, in the beginning of 2017 2018, 19, and now we're jumping to 2022. I mean, with the span of all those years and the cars that I saw, like the game has changed, definitely. You know, it's just a trip how people have become more invested in detail and in scale, because you would always hear things about, you know, like criticism. Oh, you know, this looks good, that looks good, but you know what? Those wheels are too big. Oh, those wheels are too small. That engine's too big. In real life, those patterns wouldn't be, those lines would not be like that. That's way too big. Or that flake is too big. You know, there's all those things, right? But it's not to knock the person. It's just those things get pointed out from those that see it. But the ones that don't see it, they just are unaware. They don't know. And if they find out, it depends on them if they want to maybe tweak that in the future for a different build, or not listen and just keep doing what they're doing, right? And everybody has every right to do whatever they want to do. So it's all good. You know, everyone definitely gets a pass on that. But I feel like now it's a bit different. It's a bit more critical, you know. People are definitely enjoying the building part, everything that goes along with it. And you're really not hearing too many complaints about things. People are just kind of just going in and they're doing it. And it's just one of those things where I feel like you have to be very obsessed with your build, you know? I know that model building is a hobby, and when you're at work or when you're somewhere else doing something, you have model building in your head, like you're just thinking about it. You can't stop thinking about it, you know? But the minute that now you're in front of your table, in front of your bench, it's like I feel like you have to obsess over that car, over that build, and that's what's going to get you through it. Because when I look at these cars of these guys, I'm thinking like, yo, like this dude must be looking at photos, videos, like all day, all the time, right? Documentaries, interviews, whatever piece of information that the individual can find, he's getting it and he's putting it together, putting all the pieces together, how they say. Because before, you know, pictures was a reference, but now it seems like pictures isn't enough. You have to go beyond that now, I feel like, because the amount of detail that I'm seeing now on these cars, the level that they're taking it, it's almost like that's become the standard now, you know? And some people have already been on that level, but now they're going further. And myself and others, you know, we're not on that level yet, but it's cool that we see other people are on that level ahead of us, that we could cheer on, that we could give props to, ask questions to. Because, man, it would be tough to be that person on the front line, you know? And everybody in the back being like, yo, what do we do or what? You know what I mean? Like, or how'd you do that? It's really interesting, you know? And my take from being at that show and just having a chance to look at the cars, you know, my take was like, man, the levels are high right now. They're just going to keep going higher and higher, you know? We always hear about model builders, you know, being like, this one guy was like really good, the greatest, in different parts of the country and in Europe. You know, everybody has their hero, for sure. Everybody has their hero. And it's like when you're part of a squad that skateboards, right? You always got that one friend that's the dopest one out of the crew. The dopest one and the craziest one. The one that would try to like kickflip off a set of like 10 stairs or something. And you're like, hell no, I ain't doing that. But they're down to do stuff like that, right? But now I feel like with evolution, it's not just one person now. More and more people are popping up. There's just more people popping up. And we just have to congratulate them, and embrace what's going on. We have to embrace this era of technology with 3D printing. We have to embrace everything that's coming forward, because all those things, it's what's going to help the model building, And yeah, it felt good to be able to walk around and see the cars, because I'll tell you this, vending, it's like there's pros and cons to it. The pros for sure is you're bringing brand awareness to your store. You're meeting new people. Some of those people for the first time don't even know you have a web store, So it's cool to have that interaction. Give out a sticker or, a bag with your website on it, with the, products, whatever, or even a mention. Things like that is pretty neat, because it definitely brings brand awareness that could in the future turn into a potential sale of some sort. At the same time, you get to see the customers over and over. Like, now you start to build a relationship. Now you start to know what they're into, what they do. So this way, whenever you come across a product, come across a tool or something that will help them, you're able to provide that information or acquire it and get it for them. So those are pros for sure, as well as you're selling. You're creating some income right there. You're pushing out product that you're able to later purchase more and newer product. So those are definitely the good things there. The cons, I'd say, is you're kind of stuck. Like, it's very hard to just get away from the table and go do your thing, browse other tables, chop it up with people, and be looking at all the tables with all the model kits. I feel like when you're vending, it's very difficult to do that. You can't do that anymore. You can if you have a team with you, helping you. But like in the beginning, when you're starting out, it's very hard to just start off like that, like with a squad, right? It takes time to build, where now you need like a couple people to help you vend, And now, this last show, one of my friends, shout out to my homie Randall, he was helping me, and even a previous show he helped me out. But all the other ones, I was kind of just doing it on my own, because I only had one table, But this one here, I was like, yo, I need some reinforcements. And my friend came through, he helped me down. He helped me with it. But even then, I feel like it takes time, because it's like, what if they ask my friend a question he might not know or something? I don't know. Or maybe, he might be like, oh man, I don't got the change on me. Like, he's all trying to wave me down. Yo, I need change, It could be anything. Different variable scenarios or whatever. But that's the thing that's kind of like, oh man. But it's cool to do it, like going back to the brand awareness and just seeing people being happy, knowing that, oh, it's here, I could buy it now. All that stuff's like pretty cool. But I remember one of the shows, like in October, I wasn't even able to really see any of the builds at that time, and that kind of sucked for me. I was like, man, like I wasn't able to get any shots, anything like that. I took shots of whatever tables were the nearest to me, but I couldn't just walk to the other side or anything like that. So that was like super hard right there to do. But this time I was able to go around through the tables and do the rounds, take photos. I posted some of them, not all. I'm kind of just taking my time, and I'll be posting more little by little, But yeah, I didn't want to go too crazy right away like I used to. Before I was thinking, man, before I had all this time, show up at the show, set up, had time to like chop it up with people, had time to look at stuff. Now it just feels quite limited, right? But it's all good though. It's all, just being there is pretty tight, at the show. And there's going to be another show in November. I do have the flyer at my home. I'll have to pull it out and mention it on another future podcast. It's going to be at the NHRA Museum in November. They always do it around November. So that takes place in the city of Pomona, California. So that'll be out there. I'm still not sure if I will be there vending. I have not made my decision yet as to if I'm going to be there or not. I've been to that show before, but if I do decide to do it, if things align right, then I'll definitely make that announcement. That way, those that are going or plan on going, just a heads up, But we'll see what's up. There's shows that pop up here and there, and some that I'm not even aware of. I find out about them until like that day or the next day, and I don't know. I don't know if it's because it doesn't get promoted online. Maybe it's only being promoted on one channel and not all the channels. Who knows? But it's all good. I mean, I'm honestly not trying to vend at every show that comes up, because I got a family, I got a daughter, my fiance, and most of these shows are on the weekend, on a Sunday or a Saturday, and I love spending time with them, But I know later, as my little one gets older, I'll bring her with me, I'll bring them with me, so this way she gets to see like what goes on, like where I'm at, what the model cars and all that stuff. Start exposing them to all that stuff. I think that would be fun, But for now, she's too small. She'll get bored real quick, or she'll just want me to hold her. You'll see me vending, just holding her with one arm, and then the other arm over here handing change. So yeah, it's just funny because I'm imagining it. And so yeah, the show was good though overall. At the end, I wasn't able to hang out for the award ceremony. I did sponsor an award, a pick. Juana Mesqua built this like very beautiful Riviera 65 that I was just like amazed, by it, like just looking at it and the paint job he did on it and everything. I was just like dude, like this is so dope. That was my pick right there. It was very hard though, I was cruising along the tables, looking at all the cars, taking the photos I was taking, and then I was going back to my table, and during downtime I was just looking at each photo, looking at the cars and stuff. And out of all the photos I took, which were my top three, narrowing it down, top two, and then all right, the one. So for this year, 2022, the SoCal Open pick went to Juana Mesqua. He did post it. Later I'll do a repost on the photo. And the show was supposed to end at 3, but it still carried on for the raffles. The raffles and then the awards what was next. So I once I packed up, I started looking at the clock, and I'm like, man, like I don't want to get home too late, because I have to spend some time with the fam, because I was on the Sunday, and then on top of that, I was already going to begin my extensive work week, holiday work week on Monday. So I had to just be ready, to take on that. And I wasn't going to be able to do that, if I didn't leave. I mean, I was gonna work regardless, but it was gonna be tough, I was gonna be like, dang, like it was just gonna be like super hard, to be able to do that. Check. All right, guys. Had to stop the recording real quick. Had to detour real quick. I don't know. I was like, what the heck's going on? But anyway, I'm cool. Back in the route. I just wanted to think it's time for the part 2. This is the next section right here. The topic I wanted to talk about is new arrivals to the scalewriters.com web store. So I haven't given too much info as far as like podcast episodes as to what comes in lately, and I think going forward I'm going to be keeping you guys updated with some of the latest stuff that comes in, whether it's a bonus episode or maybe a video episode, something of some sort, so this way I can deliver the message to you guys, because there has been various items arriving weekly to the store, and I mean I've come a long way with it, because I still remember back when I was beginning where I wasn't able to do a weekly purchase. I wasn't bringing stuff in every week. It was one of those things where I'd make my purchases for the month, and I'd have like maybe a couple or a few brands, of their items come in, have them up on the web store, and whatever time it took to sell, half the stock or fully be out of it, I would restock for the following month. And I was ordering overseas, so a lot of times that was delayed as well. But now, I mean, there's various companies that I work with, also distributors that I work with, so I'm able to get product in every week and kind of maintain like a healthy stock of products in the store. And one of the products, I had made an announcement on Instagram. For those that follow me on Instagram, you'll know that that's where I'm mostly active every day. I also post on Facebook and Pinterest, other social media outlets as well, but Instagram would be like one of the main ones where you'll hear it first, things that are going on, and in the stories, behind the scenes, various things. And Mr. Model is like a precision detail part that it comes from all the way from Brazil, and they do a lot of accessories for model cars and also other scales. I had gotten recommendations from a lot of my customers to get this brand. Some of them told me like, I want to buy this brand, but I'm gonna wait. If you get it, I'll get it from you, type of thing. And over time, of requests and people hitting me up and just checking out their stuff, speaking with the owner, we've managed to reach that point where I was like, I want to definitely get your stuff in, and I started to get the products in, and I mean they're amazing. I love the packaging, the presentation of it. It's really good quality stuff, and I've heard a lot of good things from my customers regarding their parts. And the catalog is growing. I'm ordering more and more stuff. They just announced their latest line, like some of the new products they got coming out, and that's one thing that I like, that got me excited, is that they're actually creating more items. I don't know how often they do it, like if it's maybe once a year or once every few years, I don't know, but I do know that they are coming up with more products, and that makes it exciting, because there are companies out there that make various products, and that's it. They make like a menu of like 20, 30 items, and they just sit on that, and that's it. And that's, for some companies, that's cool. It just depends like how far they want to take it or what they can afford. But it's always exciting when the company continues to grow, continues to come out with more and more stuff. That's always a plus right there. And so I got customers hitting me up like, yo, you gonna get this? I want to get this now. So I'm gonna be getting pretty much all of the new items that they're coming out with to celebrate the release, to have it here in the US as well, and making it available. So Mr. Model is one of the newest additions to ScaleRiders.com. Another brand who today, as I'm recording this, earlier in the day, I received my second package from is a Zoom On model based out of Hong Kong. Zoom On model also makes detail parts, primarily focused on 124 scale, JDM import cars, and I mean, the stuff is just so dope. You know, everything from the wheels, the seats, steering wheels, their polishing pads, material, like every little thing that they do, it's really nice. Another thing was with the presentation. You know, as soon as I got their items in, I checked them out, and I love the way the packaging is, the way it looks, their color palette, everything. You know, they really did their homework, and they are parts that customers seek for. You know, one thing, you know, with customers when they have to order overseas, one of the downsides from it is that it takes a long time to get. It takes a very long time. Sometimes you could get lucky and get it in 2 weeks or in a month, but then there's sometimes delays where it can take upwards to 2 months, 3 months, or they might, you know, depending what's going on in the world, they might say we're not offering shipping to the US right now. All those things can happen at any given moment now, you know. And you know, me seeing that there's a void there, you know, and I don't see other businesses selling their stuff, so I was like, dude, like, definitely, you know, I don't even gotta think twice, I'm gonna carry their stuff. So, you know, people recommending in the JDM scene, you know, are you gonna carry Zoom On? You know, when will you get Zoom On? Next, you know, Zoom On has touched down in the States. It's with me, and one of the benefits of already being in the States is that when you order it will be shipped out within a day or two, and you'll get it within that week, you know. So instead of waiting so long, you know, and it's not, that's like with anything, you know, once it's in the States or in your country, you know, in Canada, wherever, it's dope. You can get it right away. And, you know, this order was a bigger order than my first one. This order is pretty much like double the size. And I mean, I'm going to continue to order more and more items. There was some items I was not able to get because they were out of stock. And that's another thing too. Like, they sell out a lot of their items. They're very popular in the US, in Europe, in Asia. Like, they're popular. So it's one of those things where I gotta jump on it. You know, I gotta make my decisions the minute that I see it available. It's like green light, submit that order. And this time it did not take me too long. I did pay for more of the express shipping just because I wanted the items to arrive fast. Those are, you know, benefits when a manufacturer can offer you that. So this way you can get it as soon as possible to restock those shelves, you know. So Zoom On is another brand. If you're looking for Zoom On, it's available right now. You know, items are very limited. So if it's something you've been waiting on, the rivets are back. There's a lot of like tiny little things that they make. You know, they even have the wheel valves. There's just so much that's on there. And but the seats are super rad. The ones that they make, they're pretty much replicas of real like racing seats, and they're all available on the site. Next week, I have a forthcoming Aoshima shipment coming in, and this one by far is gonna probably be one of my biggest shipment coming in because when I was like checking it, I was just tripping out on how many boxes that are gonna show up, and I'm like, what? Like, because the boxes are pretty big, and I was just like thinking, like, did they just run out of boxes and they're using tiny little boxes or something? But I don't think that's the case. Once it comes in, I'll have to take video and photos and post or to share to you guys, just so you guys can see what I'm talking about. But yeah, it's gonna be kind of crazy next week. There's a lot of items that I had ordered, and because of those issues with shipping, items being stuck in containers, stuck in ships from the past, and just so many delays, it finally, those items finally made it to the States. They finally got to see the light. They got to see the doors open from the container, the light shooting in like a beam. They got to breathe some air, and I had gotten notified about it, that it was here, and I believe it arrived like in the East Coast, and at that point I had an opportunity to also add more items to my order that I already had. So I just went ahead and added some more items, and everything got sorted out. And one of the items that I always got hit up on through Messenger, through DM, email, was always that Toyota Hilux truck. They're kind of like their lowrider edition, where it has the camper. It's that red truck that's just slammed to the ground. I kept getting hit up about that mini truck. When are you gonna get it? I would get even the notifications, like out of stock, the sign-ups on that too. So I'm gonna be getting about 12 copies of those. I was trying to get more, but that was as much as I could get at the moment. So I'm hoping I could get more on my next order. Hopefully they don't sell out, or else I won't be able to get those for months. Who knows when. But now that they're here and they're on their way, they are available for pre-order on the website. So if you put in a pre-order now, you're pretty much locked in to get one. And once they arrive next week, I pretty much will just package and ship out your order. There's like a few more other items I kind of set up like that because they're inbound. Other items, I'm gonna enable them, but on some I just might wait until when they arrive, just make them available, But I know for these special ones that are very sought after, that people want, I do, that's one of the reasons why I did the pre-order, just because it's like bringing you a heads up, like, hey, it's gonna come, next week. And so that's there. If you're one of the persons that wants one of these, it's there, available for next week. So a lot of exciting things. We got some of the latest colors from Slash Paints as well. They came out with some new colors. I stocked up on those, stocked up on their primers. I still have quite a good amount of clear, of their 2K gloss clear, available as well. So right now with the Splash, Zoom On, and the Aoshima stuff that's going to be arriving next week, I mean, that's a lot of eye candy right there, to have on the bench. And I need to restock on Infinity Model. I have an order that I need to place very soon because I'm out of the cutting mats, but I will be getting those in soon. But this time around, I'm going to get all 4 different mats, all 4 types. So there's a type A, B, C, and a D. So I will be carrying all of them. By far, type A with the straight lines is like the most popular one. And part B, it's more like curves. And then C and D would be more like squares and shapes. Just various different types of shapes to cut out, like little triangles, hexagons, things of that sort, rectangles. Not very popular. I would sell out of them, but then there wasn't really a response for them, so it's one of the reasons why I wasn't carrying them. But now I'm like, I need to have all four. You never know, someone might want B, C, and D. So those are going to be available. I don't know, can you guys hear the wind in the background? Hear that? So, feels good. Temperature's dropping. Yeah, right now I'm like driving into the sunset, how they say. Yeah, I'm like, have my sunglasses on, just going straight, passing through all these like cities, because the sun's like hitting me right in the face. It's not making me drowsy or tired or anything like that. I'm pretty energetic right now, thanks to you guys. I feel like you guys are here, right, rolling with me, and I'm just kind of just sharing out the info. So the Aoshima stuff coming through. Platts Nunu's been quite lagging. I have some stuff on order from them, and it's just taking too long. It's in a ship somewhere out there in the ocean. I don't know when it's gonna get here, but hopefully soon. But yeah, right now, if you on the website, there's a lot of various items that are there. But Infinity Model is something that I need to restock, especially from the show. It was a lot of their pieces that I sold out of that I need to get. And then there's also Scale Auto. No, not Scale Auto. Scale Motorsport. There's these really neat display stands that you can use for either for your home or for a model show, how you want to display your car. And I have those available too. I got a restock on those. The ends of it, like the beams that hold the glass in place, you can paint the beams also, because the stock color is like a gray, and you can paint them. You can pretty much I would recommend getting them wet, cleaned up, maybe scuff them just a little bit, really light, and then go ahead and shoot some primer, and like anything else, just paint it like a model car. Put a little decal on there or something, just create like a theme to match your car, This way, if you want to showcase the engine bay, the belly, everything could be shown, And those are also available right there. But yeah, there's quite a number of stuff. And then I can't forget about the Kaido House Datsuns, the 510 Datsuns, the Breed edition. Those cars are now available. There's an edition 005 and 006. I have both. I only acquired a case of each. I didn't want to go too crazy buying so many of them. It already comes with like 24 units in each box. So, that's a lot of cars. And it also comes with the chase car. The chases are gone. Those I listed them on the site. They're very sought after, and they didn't last too long on the site. Somebody bought them, and that brand has been taking off as far as like a very popular brand, and at the same time, there's like more other items that they're showcasing that they're going to be coming out with in the future. So if you're already a veteran buying Kaido House with Mini GT collaboration, I don't think you're ever going to stop buying these. You're going to continue. Everything that they come out with, anything that they're feeding you with, you're going to get it. If you're new to the game on that part and you want to start getting into it, get your hands on whatever you see, because a lot of these cars, they're hot right now, and they're just going to get hotter later, because once that edition comes out and every store gets it or vendor gets it and they're gone, that's it. They're not going back to repress that colorway, And I was staring at both of them, the 005, 006, just to compare the differences between them, because they are different. And some of the differences I noticed was the inside, the roll cage was a different color. On one of them, the windows are tinted than the other one has clear windows. The engine bay, the engines are a different color, and also the wheels too. The wheels are quite different as well. So the exterior, one of them has like a matte finish on the sides, and the other one's a little more glossy of a finish. So if you're a collector, it's one of the things where you're gonna end up getting both because of those differences, especially if you're a completist collector, but if you're not and you just want to get one just to have on your desk, or to have a piece of that Kaido House Mini GT, then any of them is fine pretty much. But if you're into the differences and all that stuff, yeah, you're gonna for sure get both. But yeah, that was one of the latest diecasts. There's gonna be other diecasts that are gonna drop in the future that I'll get from Tarmac Works and also Kaido House Mini GT. But not everything, I'm not trying to go too crazy into the world right now of the 164. My primary focus is 124, 125th scale, and the 164 will be there present, but very lightly. The same with the Gundam right now. I did get a shipment from Bandai, and not a lot of kits. I mean, one of the couple cool things was the Sega Saturn and PlayStation. Those model kits were pretty rad. I have those in the store, and there's also other Gundam kits that came through, some GMs that came through the pipeline that I have available. But like the same, I'm not trying to go too heavy right now with it. But in the future, I will extend the line. There'll be more Gundam kits for sure that I'll be carrying there. And other than that, I mean, I think that wraps it up for new arrivals and what's to come, because today, as I'm driving and recording this, this is Thursday afternoon, evening, and episode drops Friday, and next week Aoshima stuff comes in, so by the time you're hearing it, the Aoshima stuff's gonna be landing or has already landed, so the next segment, and the final one too, because I'm starting to get a little tired and I'm getting closer to where I'm headed, and is the shop where it's at right now at this point, and future thoughts and like direction of where I want to take it. So thanks to you guys that have been supporting me by either purchasing items, spreading the word, recommending to friends, and just bringing awareness to the online store, shouting out, everything. All those things have been helping a lot on my online store to grow. There had been a lot of things that I had to pivot, I had to change, things that I acquired that I needed to retire, get out of, and acquire new things. A lot of like research and development, a lot of I would say, I guess, like a survey, from customers, and just having that interaction with the community, being part of the community also is what contributed to all this. And I mean, I started off with just selling tools, and I mean, I know that there's only so many tools that a customer is going to get. If you're offering premium tools to upgrade and those tools get upgraded, there's only so much upgrades you can do. Once you have your workhorses, those things aren't really going to give up on you. They're going to go a long way. And anything else is just going to be like another add-on to enhance your skills and enhance what you're doing. For me, tools was always important because I noticed the difference of the quality. I noticed the enhancements. I noticed the performance that I was getting, the results, all those things mattered. I started to figure out, that it wasn't me that, kept messing up. It was like the tool that was causing that mess up. So I had to fix that to get the correct tool for it, for the right job. And now it fixed that problem. There's all these like various things. And I remember a friend of mine bringing up a point saying like, what if you cheapened out and you bought like a cheap airbrush, a cheap compressor, everything cheap, just because you were like, oh, it's expensive. Like, I don't want to spend a lot. But you're like hardcore about model building, right? You're like, man, I want to bust out. I want to get to this level. I want to be dope. All right. But then the minute you start shooting, you realize you're not getting those results. And sometimes, I'm pretty sure this has happened, out of all the thousands of models builders in the world, that because of the poor performance of that airbrush and compressor is what deterred you, like, or made you like pretty much step away from model building. It was your roadblock. It was your wall from getting to the next step. It's what made you quit. It wasn't you, In your mind, you have the visual, and you probably have the talent, but you couldn't really bust out with it because of those tools, And let's say that you do go out and you buy that nice compressor, that nice airbrush, and you're ready to go, and you start to see 50% of your vision on that first run. It's not going to make you quit. You come back again, then you hit 60%, then 70%. Next thing you know, you're at 100% in your mind, right there, right in front of you. And you compare both and you go, wow, I had this vision in my head and now it's right in front of my eyes. And I did it with these tools, I know there's an exception to the rule sometimes where we see videos on TikTok or whatever where you see someone who, is highly talented, and no matter what you give him, you could give him a straw with paint and he'll shoot it through his mouth and he'll bust out with the candy paint job, right? Like, we see these things online and they happen, but that's not all of us. Not everyone's capable of that. There's just some people that are performers and they're able to do that. But everything has its limitations. But when you have the right tools, performance is going to come out. Everything's going to be very key. You're not going to want to quit. You're going to pursue it. You're going to go after it, So that was very important to me. I just became like a tool junkie, collecting tools, using them, sharing the info and everything, and it felt great offering that, that service and those tools to my friends, customers who later are now my friends, all these things, the community. But then again, you get to a point where there's only so much that you can sell. So then, you have to expand your horizons. You have to pivot to the next thing. What's going to be the next thing that's going to help grow your store? And then again, I started to think like, well, am I going to pigeonhole myself to just tools and that's it? Because the vision I have is a warehouse. I vision a brick and mortar store. I'm envisioning all these things, right? But if, tools alone ain't going to take me there. It's not going to take me there. I'm not going to be the Harbor Freight of model tools, or like Sears, section where you go to the tool section or whatever. That's not going to happen. You start to see all right, these hobby stores, they carry everything, They carry model kits, paints, tools, materials, supplies, everything, So as time went on, those pivots had to happen, the evolution, and at the same time, the community reaching out. hey, are you ever gonna get to me a primer? You mention it, you use it, but or what's up? Because I can't get it in my area. Are you gonna carry House of Color? Are you gonna carry Iwata? You're gonna carry this? You're gonna carry that? So all these things, came into the forefront, and I had to see like what were things that I can get at that time. I could not get everything. There was only certain things I can get. And at the same time, I was along the way, I was meeting other business consultants, business vendors who were pretty much, telling me and giving me a lot of knowledge on stuff, breaking me down, and friends too that were giving me an insight, because it's like they were rooting for me. They want me to grow. And I mean, a lot of them had very valuable information that I had to do. So then later, we started to see more kits, paints. It started to open up more avenues, more things started to come into the brand. And then later, once we had the paints, once we had the kits, the materials, we had the tools already, the next thing now was the detail parts. I mean, people were hitting me up about it. Those are the things that were missing. When you go to like I was saying earlier, hobby store, they have all these things. Go to your local hobby store, pay attention to everything they have, everything that's sectioned, and you're gonna see like everything is there. And yes, there will be some shops that might not have every brand or everything that I might be carrying, but they do have the core things for sure. They're gonna have them, right? So at this point, I'm starting to see the store, the stock grow, the different items grow. The 164 stuff started to come in, the Gundam stuff started to come in. All these different little things started to come in now, and the order started to change. It went from just nothing but 100% tools. Now it changed from like 50% tools, 50% kits, and then now just all kits, and then kits, paint, detail parts, everything, right? And there was one that was like, I was very excited about packing, because this person ordered one kit, new glue, a can of primer, some detail parts, sandpaper, like all these little things, right? And I was going, oh man, like this is either someone that like is treating themselves, like they're just like getting back into it, or someone that's new. I don't know, but I was just like, yo, this is a cool little pack right here, packaged it up and shipped away, and I was just like, man, hopefully this person's on Instagram. I don't know, but yeah, things like that, it's like pretty neat to see, right? So now we're at the point where there's all these things coming in, and I'm just like, I still have that vision in my head. Like I still want to get a warehouse space, and then at some point maybe some retail space as well. So I've been driving around town, I've been cruising around different cities that are very close to me, just seeing the landscape, seeing what's available, what's out there, writing down phone numbers to places, to lease. I have all these plans of what I would want to do with the space, but it all just depends on how big. I don't think that I'm gonna go crazy with a huge space the first time around. My ideal plan is to, let's just say, for example, get like a smaller space, but a lease that is maybe for like a year or two, and after that, once it reaches that point of expiration, the next place would be to pretty much be like double the size of that. And the reason being is just, once you get into your initial first space, you're gonna outgrow it. Even if you get a big space, you're still gonna outgrow it. But this first initial one is just to kind of get things rolling, right? set stuff up, have the workflow, figure out the formula of how this is all going to work, with the space that you have. Once you make that happen, then you have your logistics, everything ready to go. Then when you know, all right, we need another bigger space. You're already looking for it. On that second year, you're already looking for it. You lock it down, and then you start to basically transition into the new spot. The old spot, you fix it up. You have some time to fix it up and give it back the way you got it, and you're good. And lease is terminated, and now you're on to the next, right? And now all these other things will happen, right? That you'll make happen. But at this point, I'm looking around. I'm writing phone numbers and stuff because I'm doing my searches online too. A lot of the information's online as well, but there's these one areas where I'm like, it's here, but I don't see it listed. So those are the ones I need to get on the phone with and figure out all the info, behind these things, because it's not just rent. You're not just paying rent. You're also paying for property taxes. You're paying for the maintenance of the area, the trash. All these things are going into what you're going to be paying each month. So my goal, is to get into a place so this way I'm able to operate online sales and be able to get more product, pay the bills. And once I'm at a position where it's big enough of a place, now I could open the doors to you guys, my customers, to come in. And trust me, there's going to be a lot of things that I have in my mind that I want to do, interactions and stuff, setting up. So this way, it's like a base, like a home base, and like hangout spot, and just being able to do a lot of things, interviews as well, podcasts, videos, lot of various things. Also events. I would like to even host events in there, maybe even presentations like an art gallery style, things of that sort. What if there's an artist that, in my mind, I'm like, yo, everybody needs to know who this person is. This person's making noise. I'd like to organize an event in my space where everything in there that's being displayed is from this guest that we have, that we're showcasing as an artist. And, have people come through. They could bring their family, different vibes, you know what I mean? That way, they get recognized. And there's just so many things that, I want to do, but it takes work though. It's time, and I'm patient. Like, it's a marathon, it's not a race. So, I know where I'm headed. I know where I want to take it. That's why every order that comes in, I take it serious. I make sure to pack it well. I make sure that it goes out on time. I make sure that all these things are there, with each order that comes in, because I know that each order that comes in is contributing to that goal of where I want to take it, and because you have to start from the bottom, and that's how I feel. I feel like I've started from the bottom, and I'm just kind of growing and growing and growing and growing. And yeah, there's going to be things along the way that are going to be some challenges, but I am definitely going to embrace them when they come, I'm going to handle them, and we're going to get through it. And the location, the place, and all this that I have in my mind, that vision will come to light. It will. I know it will. What I'm doing is serious. It's not, like I've said before, not one foot in, 1 foot out. I'm invested in this, like 100%. I do have a day job, which is somewhat transforming into like part-time, because I'm not really working my full hours, and with Scale Riders, it's like a full-time job, because promoting online, packaging stuff, moving stuff here and there, boxes, everything. Like, it's labor. There's days where I could be tired at night, but I'm like, no, I got to package the stuff, I can't be lacking on it. I got to get it together and go. So, because I want to take it somewhere, you know what I mean? Like, the minute that, the job I have right now, the family business, the minute I'm out, like, where it's done, that's it. I'm on my own, I'm not going to look for another job. I'm not going to work for somebody else to tell me what to do, I don't have a problem with that though either, but not trying to have like an attitude. But it's just, my dad was an entrepreneur, and I was raised on that, from seeing him do that as a kid, and that experience that I have and what I got going on right now. It's like, I feel like I was put here on this earth to do this. I was put here to do this, and I feel like everything's timing, When I look back at my timeline, I feel a certain way, the way things are lining up, But at the same time, I'm not just sitting there thinking, oh, it's coming, it's going to come tomorrow. No, I have to work hard. I have to get it to that next level, And that's why you have to pivot. You have to do all these things. And I hope that you guys that are listening, whatever you're doing in your life and you want to get to that next step, you can't wait around and just wait on it to come to you. You have to go after it. You have to work hard and get it out there, You have to put yourself in uncomfortable positions, get out of your comfort zone. If you're shy, you got to break out of that shyness, There's just so many things you got to do. But yeah, I want to definitely, have a lot of products and various things. But as time goes on too, you guys are going to see there's going to be certain items that I'm not going to, in the meantime, stock. I'm going to just retire them from the store. It's either because I know the margins that it gives and the price points, they're just not acceptable, or I just don't think they're cool, It's kind of crazy, like the prices I see with like AMT kits, how much they're going up, and Revell, like, those days are it being like really low are pretty much done. But once in a while in the wild, you're gonna find a deal, or you're gonna find them at a model show, or they're gonna be on sale or whatever, and that's when it's time. That's cool with you. You got to jump on that. But you're I don't know, like some stuff I'm just not interested in it, and it's not even the car. The cars are cool, Like I could be like oh man, let's just say 64 Impalas are out. Let's say they bring them back, and if and people want them, but if the price is too much, like I don't even want to carry it. Like I don't want to be selling like a $40 Impala, knowing that we were getting them for like 25 or like $20, $12, and that was like three years ago. It's not like it was 20 years ago, It was just recent. So I don't know. It's just kind of a trip. But because then also, I don't know, I feel like it gives a bad look, Like it almost makes it seem like I'm putting the price up to put the price up, and it's like, nah, like I don't know. Once you start comparing, you'll notice, or you'll see it, But I feel like my message with being a seller is, or like a responsibility, is like bringing your customers things that they need, and seeking for what they need, because I always refer back to the backbone for me for like DJing when I got into music with DJing and I was buying my records, I was buying the records that I like, but then it got to a point I started to discover new records that no one had ever put me on. I started crossing over to different genres, and I started studying those genres, taking a big likeness to them, and realizing like, yo, like this genre or this track is on a whole nother level than this one I hear. If I play this one, this is a song they hear all the time. Everybody has this song. But if I hit them with this one, this is going to trip them out. It's going to get their attention. And this is going to be the one that they're going to be asking, who made that song? You know, where'd you get that? It's going to turn into that. And it's also what's going to make you stand out. So it was one of those things where, you know, in the beginning, whenever I got booked and I'd play the stuff like that, like new stuff all the time. And I had friends who would always play the same stuff all the time, and I would always say, damn, dude, you're playing a safe set. You know? It's like you're scared to play something else because you're scared of like the reaction you're going to get from people. You know? Dude, take a risk. Like, play what you want to play, or just introduce them to new stuff. You know? And I understand at the time it was kind of different. Like, not people weren't really open to stuff. But right now, everybody's open to everything. Everybody wants to listen to everything. Everybody has their own top 5 now, which is cool, you know? And I mean, I still dig for music. I still buy CDs. I still buy records, 7-inch, 12-inch. I'm still collecting stuff. And it's so funny because as I'm buying this stuff, I'm still thinking in my mind like, oh, one day when I play this. And but I have no plans of playing anywhere right now or anything like that. But I still collect all that stuff. But it's the same thing with tools. It's the same thing with the kits. It's like, why do I want to introduce the whole line of AMT kits when they're being sold everywhere? That's not going to make me stand out. You know? What if I bring a line of kits that no one's really selling, right? Then that's what's going to make me stand out. If I'm the only cat selling Aoshima and I have like the biggest Aoshima selection, it's going to stand out. If I have the biggest Hasegawa selection, Fujimi selection, it's going to stand out. Which those 2 brands I need to build on because they're quite small. But I'm just using it as an example. Nunu Plots, another one. You know, all those brands that are can be a bit hard to find or your store does not really stock. You know, those, I mean, they make dope stuff. But some places just don't carry the stuff. The same with the tools. Some people don't want to deal with overseas. Some people don't want to deal with the waiting or any of that. The risk of like, oh, I'm giving this guy my money. What if I don't? What if it doesn't arrive or I don't get anything? You know, there's all those things right there. But for me, I mean, I'm willing to take that risk and I'm willing to get that stuff, like, because I know what it's capable of, and at the same time, I know that having that type of, I don't know if edge is the word, but that style, it's what's definitely gonna help, you know, make some noise to my brand. So, man, I'm already here. That's crazy. I thought I was gonna stop earlier, but I hope I didn't bore you guys either. That I was just rambling. I was pausing for a while at times just because, you know, I'm trying to limit some of my words too, as far as like, you know, the ums, the yes, the whatever, the buts, all that stuff. I'm trying my best to get better at speaking, you know. But thanks to you guys for listening, because I'm able to continue doing more and more and more, and it's always practice every time. But now I'm trying to eliminate certain words from my vocabulary, so this way I do not keep repeating it over and over and over. But then again, guys, I'm here. I made it. Can't believe I made it. Safe. Thank you guys for rolling with me all the way from point A to point B. We made it safe. I'm happy about that. And now it's time to get to work. It's 7:15 p.m. I don't know, it's gonna be a long night, but and that was one of the reasons why I had to do the solo episode. You know, no guests. I just had to do it on my own. But thank you guys. Peace out. Please stay tuned for another episode of Scale Riders Podcast. This is episode number 163. We'll have a guest at 164. Keep posted. Peace out. Stay safe. I'm out.